We're kicking things off with the Morning Loop Reloaded. Yep, we are. We're going to dive in for the next few minutes before we go in the gym with John and Marty about an essay I read. Rory Sutherland wrote an essay on Substack, Insights on the Battle Between Urgency and Importance. We always think about what's urgent or what's important. Then in the gym with John and Marty, we're going to talk about top workout rules you should never forget. We're going to spotlight a creator in the community corner, and then we're going to dig into the rest of the Business Athlete Manifesto during the business and branding segment with Keith and Christina. But for Loaded, I want to get into an intriguing essay that I read by Rory Sutherland over on Substack. John, Marty, and I'm looking at you guys. His essay challenged the good morning, Tangerine. I just see you here. Good to see you here this morning on the show here. Rory's essay, guys, challenges this idea that faster is always better, arguing that in today's world, we're often letting the urgent drown out the important. And I feel like it works well in this. I got to get some abs, Marty, by my vacation coming up in 4 days from now. But we have this, we're often letting the urgent drown out the important. Oh, you mean you want to live longer? Isn't that more important than getting abs in 2 days from now? And it's hurting our long-term success. Team, Sutherland uses a brilliant analogy, and Johnny, listen to this one because you come from our philosophy world, but Sutherland uses a brilliant analogy when he talks about a copywriter and an art director who wish for the lives of Hemingway and Picasso only to have their account manager wish them back because of an urgent meeting. And I find that it's a perfect representation of how we constantly prioritize these short-term needs. I got to get a six-pack by the weekend, Marty, over the long-term value of, no, but I want to walk with my kids when I'm 80. There's a conflicting kind of goal there. Let's talk about this. In a world where everything is urgent, I got to get it done now. I got to get my abs by Thursday because I got to fit into my suit. How do we make sure, Marty, John, Christina, how do we make sure that we're not sacrificing what's truly important? You know, Keith, what you really want to do is you want to walk with your kids when you're 80, not worry about right now about those abs because the abs are going to come and go. John, starting with you, pal, as someone who's spent decades in high pressure sport situations where urgency is often the name of the game, how do you balance, and how have you taught yourself and your clients to balance the long-term goals with the pressure to act immediately, urgently, and quickly and right now? You follow me, John Anderson?
100%. And it comes down to more, what are you focused on? Where are you putting your attention? So let's just talk about the gym. We'll use myself. It's just easier to use myself as an example. When I'm in there busting my ass and I'm squatting 700 pounds to failure, meaning I'm not planning on putting it away. I know, take this thing, I'm going to crash. It's because I'm not worried about that day. I'm worried about that day, but realistically, the focus is me doing that down the line with the best in the world. I need to do this today so that I can get on that stage and I can compete with the best in the world. So of course I focus on what I got to do today, but realistically today is just one little piece of the puzzle, one spoke in the wheel of the bigger picture. And it's a little confusing because I preach, don't focus on the big picture because you're losing focus of today. So you have to understand where you're going, and you have to make sure that goal, that place, that end place you're going is the right place. And then you got to focus on what you got to do today to make sure you maximize today to take a step towards that place. So I guess what is it that you're focusing on? And you said it yourself, brother. Are you focused on getting abs this week, or are you focusing on getting abs in the process of getting so healthy you can play basketball with your grandson at 80 years old?
Yes. But Marty, you got clients coming in every single day who are juggling multiple priorities. They got a priority here, a priority there, a priority everywhere. How do you help them keep the important stuff front and center, basically recognizing, yes, I know, Keith, that stuff's important. Everything's urgent, Keith. How do you help your clients balance what's important today towards what's in balancing what's important tomorrow?
We use the reverse rule. I have the reverse rule. Y'all know what the reverse rule is? No, perfect. That's what I'm here for.
I want to hear it.
That's what I'm here for, Johnny. That's why I'm here, Johnny. All right, you got to use the reverse rule, pretty much. All right, let's say client comes in. Hey, I want to get a six-pack by Saturday. Okay, whatever led you to want a six-pack. Let's say you have a gut you want to get rid of. The gut didn't show up by Saturday. A couple years ago, you didn't say, "Oh, I just got this gut Saturday." The gut, it took time. You had to accumulate that gut. You had to build that gut. You had to put some effort in for that. Maybe not effort in for that gut. But if you didn't get the gut quickly, you're not going to get the six pack quickly. So the same rule applies. It's just doing the opposite behavior. So pretty much that's the reverse rule I use. And so when I break it down like that to them, they pretty much understand that, oh, I got to put some work in. I got to change habits. I got to reverse everything that I did to get the gut in order to get the six pack.
I just got to jump in real quick. That's so powerful because that's so true, brother. But what really skewed when social media came along and people start basically putting up pictures of their transformations and not being honest with the time frame. Now you got this fleet of people that think, yes, I saw a guy that did all this in 30 days. I want to figure out how to do that. And what that does, that distracts them from proper guidance, such as the reverse rule.
Flinner, there's another side to this, Coach. Sometimes, especially in business, acting fast is the right move. We gotta go. We gotta go right now. But how do you encourage your colleagues to know when urgency should take priority over importance? Again, urgency should take priority over importance. It's about understanding the situation, knowing when to act fast and when to step back and think long term. But Christina, what are your thoughts on this whole idea of sometimes acting fast is ultimately the right move? Maybe you're even sacrificing the long term by acting fast today.
Sometimes if we don't act fast in the immediate, there will be no long term. And so we need to understand the implications of our decisions in the immediate. I don't believe in balance of any of these things. I believe in blended. So balance assumes that you're always going to meet an equilibrium. And that's just not reality. As you said, sometimes are going to require more time on the gas pedal. So I can't be balanced in that moment. What I want is blended. And in order to have blended, I have to have a really clear vision of what the future is. But I also have to acknowledge the fact that the future is not the present. So if I fuck up right now in the present, there will be no future for me to consider. So those are the things we need to understand. I always think about it like this. John, I don't know why this sits with me, but you said with your girls, you would allow them autonomy when they were dealing with challenging times, except if that moment in time you knew was going to negatively have an effect on the trajectory of their lives. You need to look at your goals and your decisions in that way. Is this going to change the trajectory of what I'm trying to do in a negative way? And if so, you probably have to put the urgency behind it. If not, then maybe you need to question whether or not it's actually urgent.
And I got to just jump on that train real quick. That's something that I still struggle with because my mentality is go. And sometimes I think, okay, I want to go. But in actuality, is this go right now going to serve my big picture? And I love what you said, Christina. It's so powerful. Is that sometimes if you don't keep that urgency, the whole thing falls apart. The whole thing goes to sleep. So there's a balance there. And asking yourself questions, I think, is so powerful in this situation. So I think what you're saying is right on par, Christina. Totally resonated with me.
And I struggle with it too. I really do. Like we make this seem simple. It's not simple. It's simple to say. It's really fucking hard to do. And I think all of us struggle with it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think the reality is this, right? The big takeaway here is simple. While urgency can't always be avoided, it's important not to let it drown out what truly matters now, what truly matters in the moment, what truly matters down the road. Speed isn't always the answer. That's the reality. Speed is not always the answer. Sometimes you've got to slow down to go faster. Sometimes you got to slow down to get it right. It sounds so cliche, but the reality is it's true. And I'm looking at your comment. Sue Herman, is this mentoring? Yeah, it is. It's free mentoring. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends, 8 o'clock Eastern time, Monday to Friday. We help you guys get up and hit your most audacious goals. And sometimes that's by being urgent. Sometimes it's saying, I got to go get it done right now. So listen, drop a comment. Let us know, how do you balance urgency and importance in your life? And we want to hear all about it. So we can talk about it on the show here. All right, coming up next, we're going to head to the gym with John and C. Marty, and then we're going to come back as we go into Community Corner. I teased something at the beginning of the show that we've somewhat ran out of time at the beginning of the show, but I've been nudged by my producer, Jimmy, here. Keith, might be people wondering about this. The Blue Zone is a scam nation. I think it's a scam. We're going to come back and talk about it after In the Gym for a few minutes. Some of you are intrigued about living longer in the Blue Zone. We're going to lean into that at the end of our segment with John and Marty. But Jimmy, let's get me out of here. Let's get Christina out of here. Let's put John and Marty on stage so they can dig into workout rules you should never forget, Business Athlete Nation, with John Anderson and Christopher Martin. Let's do it, boys.